Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and joining us on Deborah Cobell Live. In the studio today, I am just thrilled. My friend Kim Douglas. Kim, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the drive over to Burbank, but I know right across the street you've got Ellen there.
That's right.
So
I waved.
yeah. So thank you. But for those of you who may not know Kim, and I find that hard to believe, you are a TV host. You're an actress. You've been on all kinds of stuff. So we're going to get into that as well. You're an author. You've written 5 books. You're a wife and a mom, most important.
Right.
Woman of faith.
Yes.
You're the beauty expert on Ellen. You are so damn funny. I swear to God, you're hysterical. I love the one where you put your feet in like the pie or something. I think
Pumpkin pie. It's really good for
one
your
looked
feet.
like a mud pie and a pumpkin pie. I know that you make all kinds of potions at home. We're going to get into all that. You are a breast cancer survivor,
Yes, I
most
am.
recently, and we're going to talk about that as well. And I am honored to have you on our program.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Good to be here.
Wow. Where do we get started with
I
you?
know.
Where do we start with this girl? Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
You started, actually, what were you like? Okay, you grew up in Michigan.
Yes,
Did you
Detroit.
always want to be a TV person? I know that you started as on the radio and then you were a local anchor, right?
Yes, very true. So I've told this story 100 times, and I love telling it every time because I really did, Deb, know very early that I wanted to be on television in some sort of capacity where I was really just being me, and there was no reality TV back then, that's for sure. So I remember sitting in the living room of my home in Detroit. My dad was a carpenter, my mom was a homemaker, and I saw, and you may remember her, a news reporter by the name of Jessica Savage. Do you remember her? A little prerequisite to Diane Sawyer.
I do, because
Barbara
the first
Walters.
job that I had was in Atlantic City, which is where I met John. And she worked there. She had already been dead. She died.
Yeah, she had passed.
And I came up and they said, "You remind me of Jessica Savage." I'm like, well, I hope not too much. But
But she was a beauty.
Yeah.
And a very smart as a whip lady.
Yeah.
So I remember just being a young girl and looking at her. And at the time, there weren't a lot of women anchors. You know, maybe Barbara Walters and her is all I can
like
think of.
hardly any.
Right? So I remember looking at her and thinking, oh, I could do maybe what she is doing. And I turned to my mom and I said, "Mom, I want to do that when I grow up." And my mother was stirring the stew in an archway across from the family room. And she looked at me and she said, "Well, then you will." And she went right back to stirring the stew. And I never thought I couldn't.
Oh, when I said that I wanted to act or do something, I was told to be a bookkeeper. So it's like, no. But when I finally got to it, my family was like, "Oh, this is what she's meant to do." They didn't get it. They didn't
the
quite
beginning.
understand that you can make a career by writing or being in front of the camera.
Right.
They just didn't understand.
Yeah,
you know what
it
I mean?
wasn't part of their
No,
reality.
they went to work hard every day. My mom was also a homemaker, so I get that.
Yeah.
So you went and worked on radio.
Yes, and then I became like an intern, but I didn't even know what that was, at our local WJBK, the CBS affiliate in Detroit, and then went to college, did all the stuff that they told me to do while I was interning, got the grades, got the degree, Bachelor of Science, and then graduated on Friday and started anchoring on Monday because I had interned and followed all that protocol.
That's not so normal.
No.
You must know that.
I
mean,
do.
It's really, really not that normal to do that. You've really got to go to little markets like I did.
Yes.
Which always irritated me. I didn't like being in the little markets. I always fashioned
ready.
myself as I should just be in New York right then and there.
Exactly.
So,
There you go.
But when you were anchoring there, weren't you sent to Vegas
I was.
to do a telethon?
Yes.
Who did we meet there in
know.
Vegas?
I know. Well, I actually was weekend fill-in anchor, but I was the reporter there. So when I went to Vegas to do the Jerry Lewis Muscular Dystrophy Telethon, I thought I would get the biggest coup because on a CBS show was an actor named Jerry Douglas who played John Abbott on The Young and the Restless.
He has such a massive presence, even back then.
Yeah.
So that must have been intimidating.
It was. It was. And it took quite a bit of courage to kind of go up to him, but it just took a few minutes for there to be a connection. And after I asked him for an interview, he asked me to dinner. And 6 months later, we were married and we celebrated 35-year wedding anniversary on Saturday.
You know what? John and I met in Atlantic City.
No.
And because he was on the radio and I was at the nearby TV station with a glass wall in between us.
Oh, my God.
And a week later, we did a telethon. So it's very funny. It's kind
Very
of mirroring,
similar,
very
yeah.
similar. And then he asked me out on a date to go bike riding, or I may have asked him actually to go bike riding. I don't remember. So it's funny how we both
Yeah.
met the people that we're with at a telethon. Those telethons,
You got to watch out for them.
you really, there's an awful lot of good that happens out of those
Yeah,
telethons.
exactly.
So, I know we're jumping around a little, but I mean, you've had a long time marriage, which is not easy to do in Hollywood.
No,
we all
it's
know
not.
that.
It's not. And we kind of had all the odds going against us, Deb. We had obviously a big age difference. Jerry's 25 years older than I am. We're both of different religious backgrounds. He had been divorced for 13 years when I met him, but had custody of his 2 children. So there was the stepkids and the ex-wife and the work that we both do. It wasn't
Oh,
easy.
girl, that's hard. I don't even know if I could have taken it on.
I want to tell you, I think ignorance is bliss.
Wow, you got to really, I'm serious, you got to really love somebody to take that on. How did you end up in Los Angeles? How did that happen?
Well, so I did the interview with him, and then we had a phone romance. So he would call me in
the best.
Michigan, and we really got to know each other. And then he said, come on out. I came out with a girlfriend of mine from college. I stayed for a little while, then went back, then came back out, and it just, progressed from there.
Wow. And then when you were here, because what you've done, I mean, but you're a news person.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard to do, to jump to the other side.
Oh, totally.
And become an actress. How did that happen? I've tried like a little bit, but I wasn't really very good. So I stayed in my lane.
You know what? I agree. I think it's a very different shift. And when I came out here, it was very hard to get anything out here as a news reporter, and especially being a very young anchor. I think I was 22 at the time when I was anchoring, came out here at 24, and it was like, you're from where? If you're not from New York, we don't really want you. And at that time, a lot of our counterparts, the news reporters or the hosts, were former beauty queens or Miss Americas, right? And that was kind
like
of the prerequisite.
Tawny, what was her name?
Tawny Little, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember
And
her. She was like a Miss America or something. I know what you're talking
there
about.
were so many. So, it just, even Mary Hart at the time, I think she came from like a
she
Miss
was on
Oregon
Entertainment
or
Tonight,
something.
right?
Yep. So I couldn't get arrested at all, Deb, and I ended up getting a job at a very little station network called Movie Time. And they were a 24-hour entertainment network. And they morphed into E. And everyone said, oh, sure. Like anyone's going to watch 24 hours of entertainment.
Were they wrong?
I know,
I mean,
right?
so many times that stuff happened. It's
Right?
ridiculous. But all you needed is some airtime.
That's right.
That's what you needed.
Yep. And so I started at E, did a couple shows there, and then it kind of progressed from there.
You are so phenomenal on Ellen. Do we have her clip reel and do we have it ready? Because I want to play the whole thing. It's like 2 minutes, right? I may go out of it a little early, but I love the end. Do you mind if we look through that?
I think it'll be fun. Let's see. What am I doing? Oh my gosh. This is fun.
Who better to offer up some tips than our resident beauty expert and crazy person, Kim Douglas?
I understand you didn't want to call me an alien goddess. Is that right?
Okay.
She has powers, I think, Mark. She has powers.
Jesus.
We'll make note, won't we, Shelby? I know you're going to give me a dirty look for this.
Was this
Valentine's Day.
That's not why he's
Easter fashion show.
That's not why he's giving you the dirty look.
Really? It's okay, yeah. Anyway, way back, our simian ancient ancestors, the animal family, the female, stop drinking.
I want to be with the beautiful one.
Oh, this is going to be a really great show, you guys.
Feel it.
Oh, it's kind of nice. I like that. We just need to turn Jimmy on. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Look at that.
Boy band superstar.
And you put it right there, right in the area. And thank you. These little girls are laughing. They wear theirs. It's going to give you the best foot ever. And then in a bind, you just put, oh, I have an extra bind.
What's happened to you? What has happened?
This,
What
hello.
has happened?
Oh my gosh, could somebody have had this water a little warmer? Like in Alaska right now.
I am not making this up.
Oh, it smells like ginger. Smell me.
And then you can bring bliss to you, and you can get more happiness in your life. And I think that the happier we are, the better this world is going to be.
So much, Kim. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. You commit 100% when you come here.
If I go, I go.
All right.
And then you just go
Oh,
like,
she made a
wow,
mountain
let's go sledding, kids.
Kim Douglas.
Oh, you know what? I have chills watching you because you're delightful, you're charming, and you're very relatable for some beautiful woman that you are.
Oh, that's really
How
kind.
did you get that gig, girlfriend?
Wow, that is the best question. And it is so true, Deborah, that you just never know what God has in store for you. I remember.
Faith.
Yes.
Have faith.
It's so true. So I wrote my very first book, which was 150 years ago, called The Black Book of Hollywood Beauty Secrets. And it was basically me asking different celebrities their favorite beauty tip for under $5.
Hang on. You were working on that when our kids were really
That's
little,
right.
and I think your husband was one of the coaches at the Barrington Rec Center in Los Angeles. And they were on the little basketball team.
That's right.
And you were sitting next to me as a real nice mom, and you were talking to me about this book, and I thought, that's pretty interesting. And I don't know, a year later, there it was. So yeah, there was the
Yep.
start. But what got you started in that?
So, well, I had that. I wrote the book just because I was interviewing or running across these celebrities. And after we talk about the movie that Jennifer Lopez was doing, or the whatever that the charity that Angelina Jolie was doing for E, I'd be finding them interviews. I would stop, as we would do right now, and shut down at the end. And I go, Deborah, I love your hair. Who does your hair? It's amazing. It's so, and that's what usually my girlfriends would want to hear later. They were like, oh, so you were on Deborah's show. I love it. It's great. But how did she get her hair looking so good? Oh, well, you know what she told me? She takes a dryer sheet, she puts it on top of her brush, and then she runs it down her hair, and it gets rid of all the frizz. It costs under $5, and her hair's shiny and smells great. And they'd be like,
She's got my whole routine down right there. But
you
really,
go.
so you would ask them, like,
Yeah.
if you, what would you do? Just right off the top of your head, you think, wow, she's got great skin. So you'd say,
Yes.
how do
It
you
was
keep your skin up? Is that
100%
just right here?
authentic and true? Because I feel we as women really do. First off, Deb, I think it's so important that women compliment other women, and you are great at that. From the second I've walked in here,
I
you
don't
built
get any.
me up.
I don't get enough of them.
Well, and we all need it.
We
really
do.
do. So if you see anything in anybody that you think is great, tell them.
Even if it's their earrings and it's not them.
Exactly.
Just give them a compliment. It does.
Tell
It can
them.
make your day.
It really can. And when it's authentic, and it really is, I want to know about how great you keep your hair. How do you? That's amazing. And you know what?
My hairdresser that I've known for 20 years, I like to kill him half the time. He's like a brother to me. And I'm going to be seeing him later today.
That's what you said. You're
Shout
going,
out to you,
"Oh."
Art. So isn't that funny?
Love that.
So, but I know what you mean. But see, you're a very conversational girl. You'll sit there and go, oh my God, who did your hair?
Right.
Oh, I love your shirt. Where did you get it?
Yeah.
And you also you bring a lot to people. You know, where do they get their clothes?
Yeah.
How can they do it? Now, you do a lot of home remedies too.
I do.
That, like, what do? You just look in your cabinet and go, bingo.
Well, it's really, since we haven't gotten into this yet, but I have gone through this amazing and very, very difficult health journey.
Yeah, we're going to
And,
get onto that for sure.
Yes. And having been diagnosed with cancer and going through chemotherapy and radiation and all the other horrific things that you have to have your body deal with, I have decided, you know what, I'm going to do anything I can, Deb, to make sure that I don't have any more chemicals added to my body. So I've created my own body wash, which is just lavender and rosemary. I really do, as you said, have little concoctions in my
I'm
kitchen.
praying that this is a gift because
It
I'll
is.
take
It
it.
is.
Look,
Let's
I
do
love
it.
this. I love this. No, I
And I
read
want you to
about it.
smell it. Yeah.
Remember, I texted you today because
You
I wasn't
did.
sure if it was also going to be turned into a book because I thought, oh, this is so brilliant.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. And I want to know, now, what is it? This is body wash.
It's called, Glamorous Grapefruit, and it's grapefruit, lavender,
Oh,
and
it's
rosemary.
beautiful.
Isn't that great? No chemicals at all, no additives, no parabens, no sulfates. I just cannot put any more chemicals on or in my body.
Do you wonder why did we even have this? Is wonderful, everybody. I know that next week this is going to
Yeah,
be available.
on KimDouglas.com.
We're going to talk KimDouglas.com. That's KYM.
Yes, thank
But
you.
we'll talk about that at the end too. Why do they have to put chemicals in everything, whether it's your food, particularly your processed food?
Yeah.
And you know how they used to spray your vegetables. At least they're not. I
Right.
don't believe doing it in the same way that they used to.
No.
It's like anything you put in, you figured had a chemical attached to it, or it was part of the ingredient.
100%.
You know, our hair, our even the clothing that we wear.
Everything. You're so right. And to
Wow.
answer your question, there isn't a lot of regulations regarding
Still.
skincare or cosmetics for sure. And in order to keep its shelf life, just like the food, they do a lot of preservatives and additives and sulfates and parabens to keep things together and have them last longer. So it makes sense from a business point of view. But listen, I'm not Estee Lauder. I'm Kim Douglas. So if I sell 5 of those, I'm good.
If Estee Lauder is smart, they will hire Kim Douglas and put this, in their repertoire.
So kind.
No, really. But what do you do at home? You're just sitting there and you just grabs. You know what I use at home?
Tell me.
Olive oil. Olive oil
that's
goes
so
on
good.
everything about me. I use it for my skin, my face,
Yep.
my hair.
I mean it.
You know, if my hair's in bad shape, I put some olive oil on it. I
Yep.
always put olive oil, like
Under
no
your
kidding,
eyes?
under my eyes.
Yes, it's great.
It's very reasonable.
And so did Sophia Loren, by the way.
Really?
So you're a good Italian beauty girl because
That's
she
right.
said that olive oil was her #1 beauty secret.
I am Italian.
I know.
Yeah, full-blooded too.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you just sort of pick anything out of there.
Yeah, I just, I do my research and it's part of my segments every day. So whether I'm trying to create a segment for the Ellen Show or Home and Family, that is what I'm doing. It's my job. So in order to make it fun and entertaining, but also give takeaway, give information, I create these segments. And then once I'm creating them, I'm like, wait, I should be doing this. Why am I using this compact with 900 ingredients instead of putting some hibiscus flowers that I could crush up, add a little arrowroot, and there's my blush.
You really do. That's really hard to do.
It is.
That's not easy. You've always got to be thinking on your
Yeah.
feet. Do you have somebody who helps you with that? I mean, come on, that's hard.
Yeah, I've got a lot of producers that help, at both the shows. So
Yeah, but still, it's your brainchild.
Yeah.
You know what I love about you, though? You're not just, showing us products. You're so funny. I mean, we just showed the tape of you. And I love that you're relatable. And I think that's why you're so popular on TV. Because
appreciate
people look at you as their friend.
yeah. I think, I think there's an authenticity that comes through. And I believe that the audience and the listeners of your podcast too, I think we underestimate the audience. Not we as you and I, but we as a society. Oh, you know what? We can fake it. And I think they get it. I think they totally get it, and they can figure out and hear in a tone or in a way that you present things who's pure and authentic and who isn't.
Yeah. Now let's talk about a little bit about what you went through last year. And I know that's very difficult. I also want to mention you and Jerry have a son, a wonderful boy, Hunter, who's the age of my middle son.
Right.
And we have similar friends too.
Yes.
They were all doing that whole basketball thing
Yeah.
together. Went to preschool together at Bel Air Presbyterian.
know.
See each other at church,
Yeah.
which is really nice. But last year, tell us how you found that you had cancer at stage 0. So we were all saying,
Please. Yeah.
sigh of relief.
Piece of cake.
But wait till the end.
I
So
know.
yeah.
There was a twist. So I was like many women in our day and age where I had all these plates spinning. And as you've just so graciously mentioned, all the different things I was doing. And, Deb, I preach a lot about self-care, taking care of yourself as a woman, a mother, and a wife. But here's the thing. I wasn't really doing it.
How many years before you went for an exam?
3 years before an exam, but probably 5 to 7 that I was really running myself into the ground.
I was 5 years before I went for an exam, and I just went this year. I kid you not. You inspired me. I'm not kidding, Kim. It was 5 years because I was caring for my parents
Yes.
who have died, and it took everything out of me. It was a
I'm
very
sure.
difficult thing to go through. Many people have gone through that, and I'm also writing about it because I believe we also have a responsibility to maybe not leave that necessarily for our kids
beautiful.
because it's tough. So
Yeah.
if we can plan so they don't have to really plan for you, that would be
Right.
great. Anyway, but when I saw your journey, I thought, Deborah, it's been 5 years. I was sweating
Right.
when I went in to get the mammogram.
I
and
bet.
thankfully I was okay.
It was all good.
But 3 years and it wasn't okay for you, was it?
It wasn't. And the thing is that, I hadn't eaten meat in 35 years. I eat organic. I work out. I keep my weight in check. I drink green juices, blah, blah. I do all the things. I had the checklist. So I don't really need to go. I mean, I got this. Little did I know. So I went after my doctor. We have the same gynecologist, Dr. Cheryl Ross, who literally saved my life.
Sheology is her book. She's writing a second.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Dr. Ross.
Exactly. So she suggested I get in there as quickly as possible for a mammogram. Went out, and unlike you, was like, Blaze, I got this. I'm absolutely fine.
I'm fine.
Yeah. So 3 days later, when I got the call saying, we saw something, you need to come in, it was just like,
That's terrifying.
You've got to have, you have to have the wrong person. Went in, Deb, and long story short, I was diagnosed with DCIS, which is basically, the best way I can describe this is if you have a little freckle on your face, your arm, or your chest, and your dermatologist says, you know what, that isn't cancer, but it's going to turn into, so let's just scrape
See,
it off.
I need to go to the dermatologist too.
There
You're
you
getting
go.
me thinking. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Okay, so go ahead.
All right. So basically, it's stage 0. So listen, it's still shocking. And she said I needed to get my breast off because it was throughout the breast. But
Stage 0 cancer?
yeah, but it was throughout the entire breast. It was like sprinkles that
So
someone had.
little like sprinkle dots throughout your
Calcification.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
So,
realize that, Kim.
I know. So Dr. Ross suggested that I think about getting a double mastectomy, which I didn't really want to do, prayed about. Anyway, decided at the last minute I would. Went in for the double mastectomy, came out, and I had stage 3B.
Why?
which is-
Because when they were in there, they found
in
Oh
the
my God.
last scoop of breast tissue, I had dense breast tissue, the last scoop they were taking out, underneath it, hidden against my chest wall next to my heart, was a 1.5 centimeter tumor. And they would never have found that, Deb. It would have gone into my lung. And 3 years later, it would have been like, how did Kim die of lung cancer when she never smoked a cigarette in her life?
You just answered a question for me because sometimes you hear about that when
Right.
someone didn't smoke and you don't realize, it started somewhere else.
There you go.
Wow.
So woke up, had stage 3, and found out, I'd have to go through intense 18.5 weeks of chemo and then 6.5 weeks of radiation. So I did. And
What did it do to you physically? Oops.
yep, sorry.
Okay,
One
I'm
second.
sorry.
No, 1 second.
We cut these for her right before because she said she might. And you know what? I think that's a great thing. You know why? There are so many women who watch and listen and they're ashamed to talk about it. And you're there to tell them. Nothing happens for,
Yeah.
without a reason, Kim.
I think it just like cuts your legs out from under you. I felt, Deb, like I had this life that was pretty even keel.
But moving fast.
Moving fast, but very blessed. The Lord had been very gracious to me. And, I had really good parents, good upbringing, good career, good marriage, and a good child. And so, everything was pretty great. And then all of a sudden, the bottom just fell out. You have stage 3 breast cancer.
And you woke up and found that out.
Yeah.
So you went in thinking, we got this.
Yeah.
Hard enough because you're taking your breasts off.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's a little more. So then you went in and you had chemo. You went straight for
Yeah,
it.
went to chemo. And here's the irony. So I talk every day about beauty and how our exterior is so, you want to make sure that, everything is right. And then everything got completely stripped away. So I lost most of my hair, although I wore a cold cap, which is not available to many women because insurance doesn't cover it. So I was extremely fortunate to be able to have that option.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's a freezing little cap that you change every 20 minutes to freeze the hair follicles so that the chemo cannot burn your hair follicles and not all of your
wow.
hair falls out.
but
so-
still, it's patchy and you're not
yeah,
feeling your
I
best.
lost
You're feeling like
60
God.
Yeah. I lost 60% of my hair. And as you can imagine, the hat doesn't go against your ears, flush against your head because your ears. So, you lose all of this, you lose the back, and then your eyelashes fall out, and then your eyebrows fall out, and then you become green, and you can't be very far away from a restroom because,
You want to
yeah.
toss it.
So, you just literally one by one, everything gets stripped away. And then you're just left with the basics. And that was interesting to really like have to look at yourself and say, okay, so what is left once all the hair and the makeup and the beauty and the dress is gone? What is left?
And what did you see?
I saw that character has to stay, that we as women have so much more strength than we realize, that we're
man.
so much stronger, and that we're so much more than just the stuff that we get told we need to make sure that we have. You know, make sure you have that right nail color. Make sure you have the right this. Make
That's
sure
why I don't bother anymore. I've just given up. But yeah, I
Exactly.
got you. I know,
You know.
I know. And it's, yeah, I mean, more than ever, I really believe in our power to the point where I'm like, okay, guys, go over there. We
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
And for so long, I mean, even just coming up in the business, we didn't even have opportunities where we could be decision-making people. And now, a couple of decades later, we're making decisions. We're more powerful out there in media. I mean, look at Ellen. Look at what she's done.
Yeah.
And look at, you know, all the strides that we're making politically. But my point is,
Yeah.
you realized who you were when all the beauty, but you still had beauty, but I know what you mean. When
You
your
know what I mean.
eyelashes and your
Yeah.
eyebrows and your hair falls out and you're
mean,
green, you're
hello.
feeling,
Yeah.
this is not Halloween.
Exactly.
This is me.
I could have a great
But you
costume.
embraced it. And what I love is you inspired a ton of, I told you, I went because of you.
I'm so glad. That makes me so happy. And it makes everything that I went through for naught. It was not for naught. It was that I had a reason, there was a purpose, and if I could inspire anyone like a friend like you to go and get checked, or a woman that has nothing to do with breast cancer. Maybe she's going through a really tough time financially. Maybe she's just gone through a relationship that's fallen apart. Maybe her kid didn't get on the basketball team, and that's what he had worked for a long time. Whatever.
Or worse, is
Or
into
worse.
drugs and all that.
Yes.
I just interviewed, you know, the people who did A Beautiful Boy.
Yes.
And their story, you know, just a great kid and all of a sudden got deep into drugs and meth and all that. And wow, just pulling them out. It was 10 years. And so we go through so much in life. And even though we put on a nice exterior, God knows we're, you know, there's all sorts of stuff going on. So you're right. You became an inspiration for a lot of people, not only cancer,
Yeah.
but just it's okay to say that you're going through stuff.
Right. I did realize that. That, you know, I had been kind of programmed that you just always put on that face that everything's great, everything's wonderful. And once you lower all that, because not because I wanted to, but because all the barriers had come down, people reach out. They really do. And when you show your vulnerability, people come forward. They want to help. They want to lift you up, and so many people came out of the woodwork. We live in a condo, and there's this woman that lives on the 3rd floor.
Beautiful condo in Brentwood, I will say. Around the block from us, but go ahead.
And you know, we spoke often. We'd walk our dogs a little, but I mean, she wasn't a dear friend. She would come once a week with an entire full meal to Jerry Hunter and I, leave it at the door, have all the dishes, the whole meal, and then come back and pick up the dishes. This is a woman I barely knew.
I'd love to know her. Okay, I feel really badly because I would
No,
reach out.
oh,
No.
stop.
I would
I
reach
didn't
out and
mean
go,
that.
do you want this? Do you want that?
You
No.
were so
And when people
kind.
say no, I just don't bring it because I remember
Yeah.
people were very kind when I was going through stuff with my parents, and I had so much food I almost didn't know what to do.
I bet.
So when somebody says no, it's like, okay,
I know.
You know, you can't have too many flowers. So I thought,
Right.
but wow, to have somebody do that and take the dishes too,
So
that is
sweet.
so. Yeah, but it's because people really care.
They do. When you lower your boundaries and your barriers and you let them know that you're struggling, that you have something, that you're vulnerable, I think it's amazing how people step forward.
I have a question. Do you have that photo, Kurt, of her on the steps? I think it's in front of the condo
Yeah.
in the red dress. That one.
Oh, man,
Good God.
That's a tough one.
You were right in the heat of being sick, probably
That's right.
in chemo. And I remember seeing that photo thinking, girl, how you doing that? Wow. Look at you there.
That, you know, I
Wow.
always take a picture like this. I just smile. It's just part of it. You always smile. And I couldn't smile that day, Deb.
Oh, really? To
I
me,
couldn't
you're
smile.
very, okay. Well, it's
I
a sophisticated one to me. Yeah.
it just was, it wouldn't come out. But I had made the decision just an hour earlier that I was going to do a double mastectomy. And it was the Emmys. And I was in my bed with the covers pulled and the shades drawn. And I wasn't going to get up for a year. I was just like, Jerry, this is the way it's going to be. And my husband, and he came in and he said, I understand. And he said, you have every right and you can do exactly what you need to do for you. But I want to tell you something. It's not going to help anybody, including you, for you to just lay here and do this. I think you should get up. I think you should face it. And I think you should go to the Emmys. And
you pulled that
something
off?
in me just got it together. I called my team and they came and they helped put me together literally. And I just felt like I was looking this disease right in the face and saying, you know what? You're not going to get me. You are not going to take me down. And I have God. He didn't.
Well, you had faith, you had love and family, good care. But at the end of the day, you know, different people choose to handle it differently.
Right.
But you decided, no, you're not going to keep me in bed. I'm getting out. And that one picture, I didn't know the story behind that picture. I didn't realize how hard you struggled to get into that dress and take that photo. Because you see how sometimes things can look so seamless.
Yes.
And we're all hurting somewhere way deep inside. That is a key. If you get anything out of this interview, we all have stuff, you know what I mean? And that's why it's good to be so transparent like you are.
It is. And, you know, just piggybacking on that thought, it's like we all look at Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and it's our highlight reel. And when you look at that picture, I had a lot of people say, oh, it's so this or it's so that. If you only knew that I was literally breaking inside, I would have done anything for someone to say, I'll take this away if, you know, you just do this or that. I would have done anything. And so that's why you can't believe the pictures. You just don't know.
What was the scariest part of facing breast cancer? Were you because of your life or because of what you were going to go through or your family? Perhaps your son? You know, how do you tell your family?
Hunter was an amazing rock for me, and from day one just said to me, Mom, you're going to beat this, and we're going to
Such a great kid. And you have him on the show a lot, too.
I do. He's my heart, and he was great. So was Jerry, my mother, who's 90. But the thing is, I know, the thing is that the hardest thing was just thinking of your mortality, that when you hear the C word, it is a life or death.
It's a slap in the face.
It is. And just thinking, you know, I'm married to a man 25 years older. I have a 21-year-old son. What if something happens to me? What if? This is really hard. So I just kept going.
Yeah. And I believe that you, on the show, there was a check for what, $50,000?
Yes.
And that was going toward research?
Breast cancer research.
Where are we in that? Do you know?
You know, there's so many different schools of thought with that.
Because there's also different types of cancer.
There is.
In the breast alone. You know, it's very challenging.
So true. Whether you're HER2 positive, HER2 negative, triple negative, you know, there's so many different versions. But here's what I think, Deb. I did a mixture of Western medicine and a little bit of holistic and Eastern. And whatever path is right for you is right for you. So I think the more money we can put into research, the more money we could put into maybe getting available for any woman who wants it, those cold caps, the more money we could get into nutrition and you know, getting more knowledge in this front, the better.
Yeah, and prevention.
Go
for your tests.
For sure.
Go for your tests. So now you're back at work.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's almost like you were working. You were working through this.
I did.
Are you glad you did that?
I am. I'm really glad. You know, I was super, super fortunate. So many women aren't, that both the Ellen Show and Home and Family on Hallmark, both of my bosses said to me, your number one priority is getting you healthy. We are here for you. You are welcome whenever. If you want to take a year off, we're here. If you want to take a day off, we're here. So that not everyone gets that. And that was really, really took another.
Boy,
yeah.
That's hard to hear. Not everyone gets that.
No. I mean, many women, you're working at a bank and all of a sudden you've got to take off 18 weeks for chemo. They're like, sorry, we can't hold your spot, which is horrible. Can you imagine you're fighting cancer, you've got little ones, and you've lost your job?
No, I can't. There should be some sort of legislation against that, even if at least they
Indeed.
hold your job,
Whatever.
you know.
But yeah, and so there's so many avenues of where we could go to get, whether it's just protecting your hair so that your little ones at 2 don't say, Mommy, you look sick. What's wrong? Am I going to be okay? To your job is protected, or, you know, your medical is covered, whatever it is.
So now what? I mean, I love your career is just so varied. I mean, do you still do acting work?
I do a little bit, but that isn't where my heart lies.
You would be Kim Douglas, though. You know what I mean? You're such a personality
You're
now.
so sweet.
You can't be an actor.
I like
That's
that.
the thing. You're
That
too
would be
big to be an
great.
actor. Imagine that. You're too big to be an actress, so you would play yourself. Really,
Well,
right?
I've been very fortunate to
Oh,
do
look at you there on
the
the
Young
Home
and the
and Family.
Restless. Oh, that's with Debbie.
Yeah, she's a fun girl.
She's the
isn't
best,
she?
Debbie Matenopoulos.
Oh my
Who
gosh,
started at The View and got fired from The View, and it was the best thing that ever happened to her.
Yeah.
She just turned that into a positive.
Yeah,
Again,
she just look. We have to go out because she just
Yeah.
looks like a barrel of laughs.
oh,
Like,
she's great. You would
yeah,
love her, and she would
yeah.
love you. Another strong, powerful woman.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So you've continued with your work there.
Yep.
You're continuing with Ellen. I think you're such a massive draw there.
you.
When I even hear you're going to be on, I either record or I'll make sure that I watch it.
So great.
How often are you over there?
About once every month and a half, and
Mm.
then Ellen goes on hiatus for a couple of months in between, because she's got a pretty heavy duty season there.
You guys clearly have a great relationship.
Oh, I have to tell you, one of the hardest things I ever did, Deborah, was during my journey, in the middle of it, Ellen had me on to sit on the stage with her, and you showed a little picture of that where she had me talk about my journey.
Well, didn't you have that red and white dress?
I did. I had the red and white dress.
I'm telling you, I think
You
everyone
got
saw
it.
that in the country.
And I mean it. It just so it was just so hard because it was a complete different shift for us, because we get together and it's her pretending to drink a bottle of vodka, her crazy eyes,
Or you
me
rubbing whatever that
yeah,
was.
whatever.
Yeah.
So for me and her not to be laughing and having fun, but to be talking about life and death, that was the hardest thing I ever did.
But how brilliant.
It was great.
Because what a platform.
Yeah. And
What a
it
platform.
brought a lot of awareness, and
Yeah.
just let everyone know that, it can happen to anyone. Get checked.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm
Is there
so
anything you'd
happy.
love to say? Well, first of all, okay, look. Kim,
You're so cute.
KYMDouglas.com, right?
Yep.
And also your 5 books, they must still be
know.
available,
Well,
right?
here's what I want to share with you. I am right now in the process of writing my journey and this whole inspirational book about what I went through, and a little bit of my beginnings and my middle, and now where I'm at. And that should be coming out in about a year. And I can't wait to come back and
Do you
talk to you
have
about that.
a working title?
I don't yet. So I'm just going to really pray about it and hope that God just helps to give us the exact right title that's supposed to be.
Parting words. I love that you're a woman of faith naturally. You just glow that you really have a deep faith that someone's watching out for you. So,
Totally.
yeah, I think that's beautiful. I think that really got you through too.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, what a beautiful girl. Oh, I'm so grateful that you came on today.
So good to be here.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for being here. Wow.
Deb.
It's so nice to have your friends who inspire you to come and be there and help others. Thank you so much. And everybody, thanks for being here. Honestly, I wish we could go on for another hour. I really do. But will you come back?
I will.
Especially when you get the book out, would you?
Yes, I will indeed.
Yeah, and also I promise to shout out to women of a certain age. They're going to be appearing in Hollywood this week. No, not this. It's tonight, right? Is this one tonight? What does that say? Gee, what a great promo I'm giving here. Could you imagine that? What is April 10th, yes, tonight. That's tonight. So go over, what is it? The comedy, my God, should we cut this out? The Comedy Store. Okay, bear with
It
me,
was a
please.
comedy.
Please, it was comedy. It's like, I do comedy. I actually do stand-up comedy. So women of a certain age tonight at the Comedy Store. Fran Drescher was part of that as well. And these women are hysterical. And they're of a certain age. Let's just call them over 40. And it's great. So if you're in LA, got something you want to do tonight, that'd be kind of fun. Grab girlfriends. Anyway, thank you. And that's Carol Montgomery. She founded that. So anyway, thank you so much for being here on Deborah Cobelt Live. Thank you, Kim Douglas. And we will see you next time. Bye.